Okay. Mr. Willem van der Spy, our Acting Deputy Director General for Exports at the DTIC.
Good morning, everyone. From the help desk side, it became active on Friday, and we've been fielding some calls from exporters specifically. Most of the exporters have been from the Western Cape. The key questions that there was clarification asked is with regards to when the tariffs come into effect. Also, there was also interest in terms of some of the products which are not covered within those tariffs which will be coming into effect. There were also questions around the shipment which are on water and the implications of those ones, so we've been giving clarifications around that. There's also a lot of interest shown in terms of the support measures, financial support measures, which I think was touched on today, to give further information around that. And then also, we are also continuing to give updated information in terms of the negotiations. They were interested in what is happening with the negotiations. I think we've touched upon that as well. I think also important point to raise is to say, while the desk is giving information, the primary focus of the desk is really to assist companies to enter new markets and diversify those markets. And we want to work with them systematically over the short to medium term to offer them new markets, but also as general for the country to diversify its markets as well. So the issue is to create resiliency in our international trade environment. And through this support desk, we will have practical areas of cooperation. We'll link them up with embassies. We'll link them up with potential buyers. We will also deal with the issues and take the journey with them in terms of some of the barriers, sanitary and phytosanitary issues. We'll also work with other parties around it. So it is a systematic process for us to really support them to look at different markets. Some companies, for example, have opportunities in other markets which they can advance. Others are looking at new markets. We're also assisting with them and engaging with them on those markets. And we're also looking at some of the key sectors, for example, which are affected by the tariffs specifically, that we're working with those companies as well. Thank you.
Thanks, Minister. Yeah.
Let me just deal with the ambassador thing. Yeah, thank you very much. The question from Harja with regards to how far we are on the appointment of an ambassador. Let me preface it by saying that we had an ambassador in the U.S., and that ambassador was expelled. So President Ramaphosa has always prioritized the U.S. In terms of an ambassadorial responsibility. So the fact that our ambassador was expelled means that the new process to appoint the ambassador will not be as easy as it will have been when an ambassador would have not been expelled. We have to take all careful consideration, all due diligence, and I can confirm that that process is at an advanced stage, and the President at the right time will announce who will become the ambassador of South Africa in the U.S. But I will mention that this will not be dictated to by anyone to the President. He will do so in line with his powers as provided for in the Constitution. Obviously, he may consult whoever he may deem necessary and prudent to consult to appoint this ambassador. But the process is at an advanced stage, and at the right time, he will make the announcement of the ambassador. I must also hasten to mention that while ambassadors do play a role to point to the key players, decision makers, and so forth, ambassadors do not negotiate any trade deals. The trade deal is being negotiated under the leadership of DTIC, obviously with our coordination and support from DERCO. So they are the people negotiating the trade deal. It's not our ambassador in Washington. We do have a charge d'affaires in Washington, who is the senior person for South Africa there, who does play a role from time to time to point there and there, but they do not negotiate the trade deal as it is being suggested in some quarters, that the fact that we don't have an ambassador might have affected us not coming up with an agreement. It's not correct description. There are countries that do have ambassadors in Washington. They don't have a trade deal. So the trade deal is negotiated by the relevant line function department, and in this instance in South Africa is the Department of Trade and Industry, which we are providing the support for, including our charge d'affaires in the US, who does from time to time point to the relevant people. So we do not think that the absence at this stage of an ambassador in Washington does impact on South Africa having any agreement or no agreement. Because if that was the case, all the countries that have ambassadors in Washington, they won't be having the same challenges that we're having. So this is a global phenomenon. It's not a South African problem. It's a challenge that the whole world is facing with the trade tariffs that we're dealing with. Lady R, I thought that the issue of Lady R was dealt with. There was a commission of inquiry. It made this finding. It was a non-issue. So it's no longer an issue now, and we will not want to speculate that Lady R has come back to this discussion unless someone brings it on the table. At this stage, it has never been raised as an issue. Whether we want, is this not an opportunity for South Africa to rethink its international allegiance, particularly with Iran? Again, it's part of those conspiracies and propaganda that Iran has paid for our case in the ICJ, which we have, you as journalists in South Africa knows that the South African government pays for this case. It is public knowledge. It is declared in all the documents of parliament. There is no Iran that has paid the ICJ case on behalf of the South African government. Neither is there big trade relations between South Africa and Iran to really put on the table. So it's neither here nor there as an issue, whether the issues of BEE and so forth, as I've said earlier on, they have not been brought to the table. So we can't speculate, but you know the position of the South African government with regards to BEE. It's a constitutional imperative, affirmative action. It's a constitutional imperative. Given the history of our country, it remains very important and strategic that we continue to transform the economy to reflect the demographics of our country. So this is a measure that remains a constitutional imperative for this country to continue on this path. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister. Ambassador Xolelwa Mlumbi Peter, who is our Deputy Director General for Trade at the DTIC.
Thank you very much, and good morning, ministers. I'll respond to the issue with regards to consultations with the affected industries. The DTIC, as well as the Department of Agriculture, has been consulting with all affected industries, including the citrus industry, through various platforms. We had, for example, a NEDLAC meeting as late as Friday last week. But also throughout this process, we have been engaging the business associations, but also the affected industry. So we will continue to engage, and also the industries themselves have also been sending proposals to us in terms of how, one, they are affected, and two, how we can assist them. So we will also continue to engage with the citrus industry. In terms of trade proposals to the U.S., as Minister Lamola has indicated in the statement, it covers a number of issues that the U.S. has raised as critical. One, the issue of the trade deficit, even though we do not, of course, agree with the manner in which the trade deficit has been calculated, and the fact that the trade deficit that South Africa has with the U.S. arises from the fact that we export critical minerals. So the contributing factor is critical minerals that the U.S. needs for its